You know, words are powerful, right? But have you ever stopped to think about how words like freedom or equality can be twisted to mean completely different things, especially in a heated political debate? Well, we're about to dive into a really fascinating case from modern India that shows how the very language of democracy can be turned into a weapon in a high-stakes battle for meaning. And this is the central puzzle we're going to try and solve today. It just sounds like a total contradiction, doesn't it? How can a concept that's supposed to empower people, especially women, actually be used to kind of push them back into the status quo? The answer, it turns out, reveals an incredibly clever political strategy. So, to really get what's going on, we need to understand this key concept, a discursive struggle. Now, this isn't a battle with armies or weapons. No. It's a war of words. It's a fight to control the definition of the big ideas that shape our world. And what's the goal? Well, it's to make one particular worldview seem like the only natural, common sense way of looking at things. You do that, and you'll legitimize your own power. Okay, so where does this war of words actually begin? Well, it starts with a real cornerstone of Indian democracy, the idea of secularism. We're going to see how this one single word has been strategically and very effectively redefined. Okay, look closely here because the shift in meaning is subtle, but it is absolutely crucial. The traditional, long-standing view of Indian secularism is all about equal respect for all religions. You know, this way of thinking allows for special provisions to protect minorities, to make sure everyone gets a truly equal outcome. But the reinterpretation, it twists this into formally equal treatment, which sounds good, but it demands that every single community be treated exactly the same under the law, no exceptions. And here's where you see that strategy put into action. By redefining secularism as just sameness, any policy designed to protect a minority group gets attacked with these really powerful negative labels. They're not framed as protection anymore. Suddenly, there's pseudo-secularism, or you'll hear this a lot, appeasement. And just like that, the entire conversation changes. All right, so this same exact tactic is then applied to another huge idea, equality. And this is where it creates a really deep paradox, especially when it comes to women. So, to get what happens next, we need to quickly talk about two different ways of thinking about equality. First, you've got formal equality. It's simple. Treat everyone exactly the same, period. It kind of assumes everyone's starting from the same place. Then you have substantial equality. This one's different. It recognizes that, hey, maybe some groups have been held back for a long time, so they might need different treatment to fix that historical disadvantage. It's all about the final outcome, not just the rules. And this distinction, it's the key to the whole thing. And boom, here is. This chart just lays out the double standards so clearly. When it comes to Hindu women, a protectionist model is used. The goal is to preserve tradition, to celebrate their roles as mothers and wives. But for Muslim women, the argument flips completely. Suddenly, it's all about that formal equality, the idea that all women must be treated exactly the same. And that idea is then used as a tool to criticize the Muslim community. So you've got two different standards for two different groups, both serving very different political goals. And if you want to see the logic of that protectionist approach boiled down into a single sentence, here it is. This statement uses the modern language of equality. Men and women are equal, but then immediately takes it back by emphasizing difference, but they are not the same. This one little phrase becomes the entire justification for treating women differently, for reinforcing traditional roles, all while flying under the banner of a very special kind of equality. So we've seen how secularism and equality get redefined. Now, let's connect the dots, because this isn't just a game of words. It's about using those words to literally build specific identities for women, and by extension, for their entire communities. It pretty much works like this. Step 1, you construct this ideal of the new Hindu woman. She's portrayed as strong, she's modern, but her real identity is rooted in her traditional role in the family. Step 2, you create her opposite, the oppressed Muslim woman, who is framed as a helpless victim who needs saving. And then step 3, you use these two completely opposing images of women to define the communities themselves. The Hindu community is presented as progressive and superior, while the Muslim community gets cast as backward and oppressive. And this brings us right to the heart of the strategy. In this worldview, women aren't just seen as individuals. They become living, breathing symbols of their community's honor, its culture, its identity. And because of that, any challenge to a woman's traditional role, whether it comes from feminists or legal reforms or anything else, can be painted as a direct attack on the entire community. It's an incredibly powerful move. So let's pull all this together. Why on earth does this war of words matter so much? Well, because its real power is its ability to change how millions of people think, often without them even realizing it's happening. So here's the playbook laid out for you. First, you take these powerful, respected ideas like secularism and equality. Then you subtly change their definitions. You start applying these new meanings, but inconsistently, to create a clear us versus them dynamic. You use this to build new identities. And finally, you just repeat these new definitions over and over again, in speeches, in the media, everywhere, until they just start to sound like plain old common sense. And that, right there, is how you win a discursive struggle. Which leaves all of us with this final, and I think really critical question. The next time you're listening to a political argument about any topic, anywhere in the world, just ask yourself, who is controlling the dictionary here? Who gets to define the words we're all using, and what purpose does that definition really serve? Because as we've just seen, the person who wins the war of words often ends up winning the whole war of ideas.